Because this guy had heard a lot of things and had some questions he wanted to ask me, and this is one of them, you know. So, in other words, all right, the way I first heard it was people describe as best they could or alluded to what is, yeah. So they would attempt to describe the indescribable. So they would talk about being, you know, always, oneness, all this, and it sounds great, but it doesn't usually gain much traction. And you wonder why. If you are that and you hear about that, it would seem to be a quick little communication. It doesn't have to go through 800 pages of bureaucratic, well, you could be that, maybe you will be that if you do that. You know what I mean? It would be like bammo. You know, you hear about that, and then you are that, and that's that. So what causes such a seeming disconnect? Yeah. So to describe being doesn't work. You have to describe what's hearing about the being. Yeah. If you describe what's hearing about the being, and that description rings true or the shoe fits, and then you start entertaining in a different way, not from the false reference, but sort of looking at the false reference. Instead of looking from it and then hearing about being, right? You hear about the false reference and you hear it from being. Yeah? You know, you see it? It's like it's like the same chairs in the same room, just move it a little different, yeah? So here, you speak about the all oneness and everything is just, or the void, or whatever. Where's the void? It sounds like a place like in Nebraska or something. The void. There's no thing called void, you know? It's void of void, so to speak, yeah? So the descriptions of what we are may sound really good, but they don't translate. Why is that? Because you would think if the clone heard it was a clone, yeah? If the clone heard that it was a clone, let's say from another clone, it would be pretty direct, yeah? Hey, it would clear up all the misunderstanding the clone had about assuming it was a human. But what would happen if the message of a clone that was being directed at the clone was caught by the human program? So it would be that simply super direct whack. You are that which you're looking for, which takes no time to complete that mission, yeah? You are that what you're looking for. So there's no time that passes when you're not that which you're looking for. It's not like, all right, after 30 days in the desert and not eating and do, and then at that very moment, though it's going to be very fleeting, you are that which you're looking for. It doesn't say that. It's not, I don't believe it's implying it that there are 80 requirements for you and me to meet to become eligible to be captured by that statement. You are that which you're looking for. Only maybe a saint is the only person that it fits. Yeah, it doesn't. They don't have a lot of footnotes underneath that statement. It's a simple, hey, you are what you're looking for. Yeah? Meaning like now. Yeah. So it doesn't take any time for that to come to pass because it's already so. So it's not like you aren't what you're looking for and you're going to hope to become what you're looking for, or you're going to do something to become what you're looking for, or you're not going to do something that makes you not what you're looking for. Yeah? So there's no time. You would think it would be so easy, direct, bammo. And that's what frustrates people, especially with non-duality, because they hear there's nothing to do, and it's just, they try to wear it, but they try to wear it as the false reference, which just fucking drives it crazy. It really does. I mean, it's better for the false reference not to hear non-duality. It really is. It's much better if the false reference could be disarmed enough so that the message would get through. And I believe repetition can do it, and talking, and energetically throwing it. It's like an energetic curveball. The catcher of the mental state can't catch it. It's like some catchers can't catch those curves in the dirt. You want to throw this message in the dirt so the freaking mental state can't catch it, because as soon as the mental state catches it, the game's over. immediately. So I found not to go in the direction of, oh, the one and this and that. Just see what quote unquote you are. And I have a feeling a lot of downloads are going to inform you you're not that. Yeah? So, and you don't have to go like, all right, you're not that pinky, you're not that this finger, not thumb. It could maybe take one. I'm not that, and then all the other joints get included. See, if I'm not the elbow, therefore I'm not the knee. You don't have to go through each one to deny or negate. Yeah, one or two may do. You go, I'm not the, and then it goes knee joint, da da da. You know, it doesn't have to go. And you don't have to get up every day and do it again. It's not like that, yeah? It's like 100 monkey syndrome. You take it to 1 or 2 points, and then the mind goes, whoop, makes a leap, yeah? It makes a leap that's not of time and not of thought and effort, yeah? And it really informs you of it, that it's not of time and not of thought and effort. So I found if there is a way, the best way is to understand, to study, and to know what you're not. That which has been called me, that's what's been called Mike, that's what's been called my authentic self or my fraudulent self, all the different selves in your little mental closet, yeah? I'd like to wear my authentic self today, but I'm sure I'm going to be found out to be a fraudulent self. It goes on and on, yeah? So, to see what you're not, yeah? And because the seeing is available at all times. See, the seeing, the only way it's not becoming as clear can be is because the seeing's misdirected, and the misdirected seeing is like a form of looking called self-centeredness. So as soon as there's an identification as this, the seeing gets seen to be a form of looking. And it says, many, many people have run into this little conundrum, and they warn you. They, in a sense, they say, if you look for what's seeing, you're never going to find it. So it doesn't make any sense to that which can only look for shit. Yeah? Which is this. It looks for shit all day. So now you're going to tell it, all right, I found so many things. I found my keys today. I found a nice latte. I found a book I wanted. So I am so fucking successful unless people stop me or predicaments or bad luck. But usually I can find shit. But now you're saying I can't apply that to what's seeing. Yeah. But the stubbornness of it is, it's so subtle that even when you try to stop looking, that's a form of looking. Yeah? See, even when the dreamt hears that it's the dreaming, it's a motherfucker. Yeah? Because now it's gonna, it may say, oh, I want everyone in the world to be happy, but then after a while it goes right to the base. I want 50 Cadillacs, I want babes, I want tons of money. So it would have been better if you never heard that it was the dreaming, because it's the fucking dreamt, yeah? The message isn't for us. Hopefully it gets through us. We're the defense. We're the primary defense from hearing the message. Because the message is, you are, as what you are looking for. So, I am as what's looking, yeah? And while I'm looking for it, I am that's looking. That's what's looking, yeah? So I can't apply what I am as an activity to find what I am. That's the blindness, yeah? Now, you're going to get to it sooner or later. Maybe if you come to talks, you'll get there sooner. But you're going to get there. Because if a path is really working, it's going to fail you. So that you get left with the devices, not your devices, the devices, and you'll realize that the way you're built, the way you know, the way you get things, the way you understand is not applicable to being. Because there's one little hitch you're missing. You are the being. The joy of finding it is not available here. The sadness of losing it is not available here. Yeah? The taking a whole lot of time is not available. Taking a little amount of time is not available. It's not better to take a little amount of time or a long amount of time concerning being, because being's not of time and it's always available at all times. Yeah? So there's how you can't race to where you are. Yeah? So it's like a little cryptic thing when the mental logic, it's like the mental logic, it's little lock, this key goes in. Yeah? It's not going to work. It doesn't have the same grooves. But what you are gets it. Yeah? And what you are sees its own fucking logic in it. And it's like a win-win, always inclusive, always available at all times. You are what you're looking for. The seeker is the sought. You know, you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. All of that stuff becomes the greatest shit you've ever heard, because it doesn't need 800 pages of explanation and then 1,200 pages of commentary on the explanation. It's just a direct freaking, you know, like you put on a shoe and then it fits a certain way, you wear it. Haven't you ever done that? You put on a pair of pants, it fits perfectly. It's like, oh, you know, it's not like, you know what I mean? You don't have to read a book of when pants fitted perfectly or they're gonna fit. You have a feeling these pants fit perfectly. It's like, you don't need any affirmation or confirmation, you get it, yeah? It's just like that. The looking for it is the best. It's truly, the looking for it is, if you want to call it, the biggest mistake. It's not that you haven't found it, it's the looking for it. Yeah? And they say it tons of times. Why doesn't it get through? Because it's getting through to us, but we're not the us it's getting through. This is like a backstop. When you think you got it, you've actually kept it from what could really, really, really entertain it. Yeah? This is like a black hole. Once you claim it, it neuters whatever the message was. Yeah? Because it turns it what? Into what this thing can understand. Being this, as the substantial reference, it cannot believe that it is what it's looking for. It's impossible. If you could see it like an X-ray, it would be smoking. You know, if there was a thing. This thing of what I'm looking for would just the fucking gears would be flying off. Because first of all, to its little self-centeredness, it totally makes it irrelevant, and it's got a lot of investment in being Paul for 60 years, you know? It's got a lot of investment in being a seeker. It doesn't want to freaking find. Don't you realize that by now? The last thing it wants to find, it would be out of a business, out of his job, out of what, it's like, that's the mirror it's getting a reflection of itself in. Yeah? It doesn't want that taken away. It will pantomime like it, but it doesn't want it. This is another way, it's a no way. It's the pure ordinariness of the gateless gate, that there's no toll and it's so fucking wide open, and there's not even a need to move through it. You're the constant moving through. Yeah? And the mental state is not interested in it, in my sense. As a spiritual mental state, this is the last, it does not want to go here. No. Yeah? It wants to go to Peru. It wants to be in the Amazon. It wants to paint its face. It wants to have it wants to convince itself by throwing up terribly and then having and seeing insects and alien garb. And it's great. I love it. But it's dreaming. Yeah? And I don't want to go to the Amazon. There's a lot of big mosquitoes probably there and fucking uncomfortable. Yeah, and who the hell wants to go through all that just to prove I did something? Yeah. I used to have that in Mill Valley. There's a beautiful trail behind the library. It took me 5 minutes to drive there, walk there 45 minutes, hours, and go home in about an hour. And you know, I didn't have to drive 5 hours to Lake Tahoe to tell my friends, hey, I'm going to, you know, I could just go there. And every time it was new, because my mind's new every day. Is not new, really. It's like baby fresh, in a sense. Because it's awake to being awake. It's not a big effort. The effort is to seem like you're not awake, isn't it? Most people are trying not to be awake. Look at the pharmaceutical industry. It's all based on not wanting to be here. It's too much. We're combating awakeness all day. Fucking give me something. We came out of a store down south. This guy had almost like a keg, like a half of a keg, Slurpee from some fucking monstrous sort of like 7-Eleven. It was almost bolted on, the thing, that it was that big. And he was just and someone went into the bathroom after he'd been in it, and it was gaseous. It was freaking, what was moving through this poor system was like, oh. And he had like, I mean, these 2 gallons of liquid, of, you know, high corn fructose, pure, you know, wow. I don't know why I'm saying it, just flipped me out. I never saw that big of a thing, really, to get a drink. So this is a very, very simple message. I always got surprised when they would tell me, really, you know, the 3 traits of Godhood would be omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent. We used to hear it every day in Catholic school, which is all-powerful, all-knowing, and everywhere. And it would still amaze me, why am I not bumping into that? I bump into people who I don't want to see all fucking day. I'd like to meet God. Why the hell isn't it? There's got to be something that God is doing to make God seemingly invisible. Who else could do it, or what else could do it? What else could hide God but God? Yeah? I don't like the word God, but it gets the point across, yeah? There is a reality, and the reality is dreaming. What is the whole Course in Miracles about? It's not talking to Steve and Mary, it's talking to what's dreaming. So that, you know, totally bypass Steve and Mary and just talk to the, you know, the fucking real head. Hey, you're the dreaming of this dreaming. You're giving it all the meaning it has. It's not talking about some 6'2" dude doing that. It's dreaming. It's mind. Yeah? And mind is not of time, and there is no separate mind, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. It's not talking about attributes Steve and Mary have. It's talking about what is really dreaming. Why? Because it knows better to talk to Steve and Mary. As soon as Steve and Mary hears the message of not being Steve and Mary, it's fucking unbelievable what Steve and Mary will do with it. They will try to be a non-self as a self. So the conceptual Mary will conceive or believe this is how it would look like if a thing was a non-thing. If anyone left the non-thing thing, the non-thing thing would not be upset, because there's no thing that has left the non-thing thing, and on and on and on. And you just try to do like mental gymnastic to make something that hurt your feelings. Oh, there's no one to have feelings. This isn't about not being a person, it's about realizing you're not a person. It's not about not being a person. It isn't. It's about realizing through the personhood that you're not. Yeah? First there's the Ford, and then there is no Ford. You can't go right to there is no Ford as the Ford. You have to go, first there is the Ford, and then you realize, and therefore there isn't a Ford. That's how you realize there isn't a Ford, is by accepting the Ford. Yeah? You see it, you understand it, you know it, and it lends itself to I'm not that. Instead of trying to study and know and experience what you are, you direct the same energy to what you're not. And I'm telling you, the returns are going to be much grander and they will stabilize and they'll be available and they will not be based on you. It's just attention or awareness directed, yeah? The mental state's directing it into there and then, into here and now, into this and that, and it loses it's like the seeing splits into looking, and then the looking is used to find the seeing, and it blinds us to it, yeah? The people who have the most difficult time with seeing are the ones that are looking for it, incredibly. And they get really pissed when they see someone who's not looking for it and they seem to have what they want more than they ever got it. Because that person doesn't have it. They don't want it either. They've lost all interest in it. Completely. Why would you be interested in being if you're being? See, the being interested is what you are, not interested in being. Yeah? Being interested, that's what we are. We're being interested, yeah? Not interested in being. Interested in being does not lead you, unless it fails you, to being interested. Yeah? So this has worked very well for me, and it became the last answer, still is. I get a report every 3 months, still the last answer. Downloads, just in case I had any plans. I was looking for a turbocharged solution. Informs me, this is it. So all the searches are called off, yeah? Now, let all that shit you've been trying to avoid catch up to you. Yeah. I dig it, man, so much. I don't have to practice anything. I don't have to prepare for any of these talks. You know how many talks I've showed up at? None. Let's say if I had 8,000 dates, I would have probably not shown up about 7,840 times. But that's these 8,000 dates I've never missed because I never showed up. Yeah, so the important thing is to see. If you don't have a sense of the heist, if it's described, maybe it will lead you to having a sense of it. The mental states movement is claiming, yes? It uses activities that seem to be natural occurrences in this event, which is feeling, right? Thinking, doing, experiencing. And it uses those activities for its own ends, which is, it's sort of like these 1,000 horses get a tail planted on them. And now all the horses, as they go by, which is their nature, coming and going, as they go by, they're used to point. The tail is used to point to the one who has something to do with a lot of shit it has nothing to do with, yeah? And that constant pointing has become habitual. It doesn't even have to work hard at it. It's almost as if the patient puts himself into the trance. Yeah. It just goes out. So if you can see that the mental state doesn't have a life, it has to claim, yeah, what's living. Yeah. So it claims it. So you can see if let's say at night you were in a tent sleeping in the campsite, and then at night, next morning you woke up and you heard things the night before, and then you come out and near the old fire pit you can see footprints, and you go, oh, there was a fucking bobcat or something. So you can recognize what had been there by the footprints. Well, the footprints of the mental state's heist, in a way, is my in English. I don't know what it would be in France, but French or Italian, but my, yeah. So the sense of this, the weight of my can change any word that comes after it. That's how powerful it is. It can change anything. Enlightenment, my enlightenment, changes the whole fucking thing. Awakening, my awakening. Money, my money. Experience, yeah, my experience. Time, yeah, my time. Yeah. Girlfriend, my girlfriend. It changes it completely. I don't care what word you put after it, it's going to change it. That's how powerful it is, yeah. It's like one intoxicant connected to all the carriers, yeah. So every vehicle that comes by is used to carry this sense or this insinuation or this implying that there's a someone who's the owner and the doer, yeah. To the point where when there's a doing and we can't say you did it, I did it, we'll say God did it. There's got to be some kind of cause that did all this stuff. We can't, the mental logic cannot acknowledge this could just be happening. It has to try to find a cause, yeah, to make sense of it. You're wasting too much time trying to get this convinced. It's not going to get convinced. It's pointless. Just let the message get to where it's going to, which is what's always available at all time. Watch the claiming. So when the myth comes out, right? And then it says, it hears the message, I'm a lion, and turns it into I can become like a lion. If you see it, you don't have to pull the myth down. It's already worked. If you see it, yeah? If you see the burglar, there's a recognition. You don't have to get it where it never claims. It's going to claim. That's its nature, yeah? You're not going to train it any one way. But the seeing, if the seeing sees the heist, it changes the meaning of the heist, yeah? It's the seeing that the heist really captures. So if the seeing sees the event, the burglary, yeah, the silverware is still in the fucking kitchen. Nothing has been taken out of the house. Even though the guy looks like he's running away with a lot, nothing is gone. Nothing. You haven't lost fucking anything. You weren't away from the truth. You weren't exiled for any second. That's all fucking made up. Yeah. So you see it, right? So that activity of the mental state is implying the self, yeah? Implying the self, which means being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, yeah? So now the feelings are being used to imply the feeler. As soon as there's the feeler, there's the felt, and that's all interpretation, completely. The feeling, seeing, tasting, hearing, doing, all like that's happening, but now the interpretation of it stretches the seeing into see or seeing. Then that's a freaking interpretation. So now life, or the living of it, has turned into an interpretation of it. Yeah? It's robbery, really. It's a robbery that never happened. It can only seem to be happening. When the seeing is seemingly forgotten and now is held as what's looking, the looking, I mean, that's it. That's what triggers this whole little thing. It's all appearing to be true to what's true. Yeah. And then what's true takes a break, goes to sleep at night, goes into deep sleep, all the etch-a-sketch is all fucking erased. Yeah, and then you may wake up and there's the, Henry Winkler, Fonz show again. Walk around. Everyone calls you the Fonz. All right, I'm the Fonz. You walk around. And, it's amazing for being so important that we are only on the stage for like 2/3 of the day. We're usually out cold for 8 hours. Being the huge mover and shakers that we take ourselves to be, it seems like you would be like 24/7 on the job, but you're basically out to lunch 1/3 of the time. And those are probably the best 1/3 of the time you have. So, yeah, so see it. Yeah. See what you're not. Come to know what you're not. Anything that you can perceive is not you. It is inherently you, that's why it can't be perceived. But when it appears to be able to be perceived, it's a nice little, like, corner, what is that called? Touchstone to realize I'm not that. You don't say it all day. You're not going, I'm not that all day. Yeah? But the mind doesn't need to chant what it's not. It's clear. Yeah? If anything's chanting, it's what it's not, it's what it's not. Because really, the body is that which wants to get out of the body. Completely. I mean, it's not what's out of the body. What's not a body doesn't want to chant, I'm not a body. Yeah. And it's the weirdest thing is all the chanting it's not a body is actually reinforcing the identification of body. Ooh, that's a freaking drag. There's no exemptions. You don't got the slickest, subtlest way. There's no fucking way to get back to being. You never went away from me. Chill out. Just accept your little shreeness. Fuck it, you know? This is, sometimes spirituality is just a sophisticated way of getting loaded, like drug addicts, yeah? So, love the message. Happy to be back to this vast amount of multitudes here. Incredible power. I can feel a huge power in the room. Yes, as that laughter echoes and builds to a huge crescendo. I'm not that. I saw a person sent me a video of a guy, Ramesh Balsekar, and I'm doing this with great respect. And I was wondering why this lady sent me this video. You know, I had seen him when I was younger in India, in Bombay. So I'm listening to it. It's pretty grainy. It's only like 12 minutes. So I'm listening to it. And then he says, he keeps talking to this guy, Paul, and it's me. I was there. Because I knew it was me because he asked, well, what do you do, Paul? And I said, as little as possible. I said, all right, that's me. I remember I was there. And he was attempting, I haven't listened to it with, focused attention. But he was talking about using the impersonal presence and then the personal presence, yeah? Just as a way. See, there is no distinction, but in an invitation, distinction is good. See, like in the Course, they would say there is no world, but it's much better to describe what the world is like, and then get to there is no world than to jump right to there is no world. You lose too many people. It doesn't work. I saw it happen. It doesn't work. So, in this distinction, and he was describing, he says, okay, so there's the impersonal presence, always available all the time. Then there's the personal presence. And it's sort of like, he says, do you have a home? And I said, so what do you do? I said, I'm a contractor, And he says, all right, so you go to work at the job. Are you worrying about having a home when you have a home? Do you have to say, I have a home, I have a home, I have a home all day? No, you go about doing your shit because you know there's a home. You have a home. Same exact thing. Yeah? You're wasting time to try to remember that which you are as what you're not. This doesn't have to remember that which it can't, first of all. The only way it can remember that which it is by being framed by that which you're not. So this, yes? So when I think about what I am, it's framed as this. If I'm thinking I'm the emptiness, that the feeling it's provoking is this frame. This is the reference. You know what I mean? A reference. So everything that occurs is referred back to this frame. It is so freaking fast. you're not going to outgun it. Yeah? So the idea is you are that impersonal presence. Why waste time trying to remember it as the personal presence? Rest assured that which you are is that. And all the shenanigans and all the distances the false reference can seem to travel hasn't moved it 1 inch off of the game board. There's no fucking escape from everywhere. Yeah? Wouldn't that bring a certain relief or to me here, it's the most stable possibility I've ever entertained. I can entertain my breath, but my breath comes and goes and has little modulation. I can go back to the sound of all sounds, but still there's something prior to that that's not a sound. That's us, yeah? Why not let a little of that bleed into here? And this will be so happy about it, because it'll travel lighter. Its own vested interest is its worst enemy. When that interest gets directed by something other than self-centeredness, then the interest gets dispersed. And dispersal picks up the greatest messages. It's not fucking concentration and focus. It's more dispersed, relaxed awareness. More is available in that nothing than all the things you fucking focus on. Yeah? Yeah, yes, yeah. And I feel this is the only the mental state loves to hear about being. It gets a little uncomfortable when the attention is put on it and you see the impossibility of this being the generator, the source, the driving force as this. This is an afterthought. This is like a bristle at the end of an artist's brush. Yeah? This is the effect. This is the expression of many, many dependently originating little dreamscapes. And then suddenly you're at the fucking diner and ordering this, as if you chose to leave the car. But there are thousands and zillions of things seem to have occurred to bring you there. Yet you believe you're the one who arrived. You alone were the force, the generator, the operator, the destroyer of everything. Sorely mistaken. Yeah. It feels much better to be directed than directed. It really does. It feels much better to be receiving downloads than to be fucking transmitting downloads. Like, let it come in. Let the whole thing, yeah. Yeah. So, yes. Happy Valentine's Day. Whereas the old Indian saying is, we're all children of a barren mother. What a bummer that is for Valentine's Day. You ever heard that one? We're all children of a barren woman? Meaning, how could there be any people?
Meaning what?
How could a barren woman produce children? Of course, they can't. Ha! That's what we are. You see?
It's very about how that makes sense of what we are, trying to project that into the regular world. That's why they wanted to make the Mary the Virgin. Because it was wanting to make it at this level. Yeah, yeah. All right, yes. Oh, wait a minute, I see it. Something was cooking up. It's coming up from his heels. Okay.
So, if you put the shoe on, if you put the shoe on, and it fits, why then do I seemingly forget that I have a shoe?
Because the eye. The I thinks it's forgotten, it has a shoe on. It always is. When you arise, impossibilities become possible. And you arise really fast, the sense of you. That's why I don't believe any process is going to outdraw it. The only place you can really rely on the true answer is in being. Yeah? The knowing, the understanding, the experiencing of what you're not only goes too far. And then you have a sense of it. Yeah? And that sense, when that says, that I comes and says it forgot it, you're not beholden to that statement. Yes? Yeah? You get weaned off of it because that's all it's doing. It's attempting to entice you into believing something. Once you've established you could be so far from it, now it creates distance. And stories about what you did to be farther, how you're going to do something to get closer. The whole game it pivots on the I. Yeah? You see? It's a pantomime. It's supposed to go on. Let it go on. Why? You don't have to be beholden to it. The only reason why we're flipping out is we think this place is real. And that thing is, and so why do you want to convince that which thinks this is real that it's unreal? It's just going to complicate it even more. Just see you're not that. Yeah, just it's already in there. Let's see how it cooks over the years. And if you lose interest in a lot of this shit, you're doing great. That's a good sign.
On that note, in some of your previous talks, you talked about losing interest in thought system.
Yes.
And I know of someone who kind of took it as a practice, kind of shifting their attention constantly away from thoughts, and things have happened. And that they had some hits because of that.
They had what?
Some realization.
Yeah.
Because of that, kind of losing interest, because at least for me, I hold my thoughts in great interest. My attention is 95% of the time in thoughts. So if we want to see what we are not, which is self, which is rooted in thoughts, is losing interest in thought system, isn't that like...
Well, that's going to be a byproduct. It's not, you don't set that out as an agenda. That's what happens. Once you start seeing the thoughts aren't about you, you'll lose interest in the thoughts. Because the interest in the thoughts is that they're about you. You don't have interest in Stanley's thoughts, or Sue's thoughts, or Mary's thoughts. You really don't, unless you want something from Sue, Stanley, and thing. What's the difference between supposedly Shri's thoughts and Mary's thoughts? Nothing, except Shri and Mary. Yeah? Don't you think that's pretty weird? We seem to have a lot of attention and interest in what we call our thoughts, but we don't have much attention and interest in other thoughts. So it's not the thoughts that we're interested in, are they? The interest in the thoughts is doing something. It's reinforcing the I. Yeah? I mean, that's not like advanced. Look at it. How could you say you're so interested in thoughts when you're not in anyone else? In thoughts. You're really not. So obviously it's not the thoughts that you're interested in. The thoughts of being you. See, this is how you get to the exact nature of things. You've got to see. Because just like people lazily complain about the effects of gravity and they call it the hill or the stairs or the this or the that, we're blaming the vehicle for the other, we're missing the whole freaking point. Yeah? So it's not thoughts. The thoughts are being used, and the attention is the fuel, are being used to imply the thinker. Because the thinker implies you. You as what? You as this body. And therefore the system supports itself, constantly reinvigorating itself, and because it doesn't have any existence, it has to do this in time. It has to keep fucking circulating around this mythical empty space till something appears that the mind goes, whoop, and then there's Paul, and its thoughts, and what happened? Let's say something, you needed to be reminded of something to take it to be you. The things that were used to remind you, they'd have to be plentiful. You need a lot of them, because you're in time. Yeah? So you need like 70,000 thoughts a day, and tons of different feelings. Yeah? Because the pointing, it's at nothing. The pointing is so emphatically happening, the mind makes the leap, and then suddenly goes, hey, I'm what's being pointed at. I am the thinker, I'm the doer, I'm the that. And then suddenly, it seems like everyone else is agreeing to that. And we have our little court systems, and we have this, which agree, yes, you fucking did it, and da-da-da-da. And so the story gets reinforced, doesn't it? And yet, feelings other people are having could not possibly do it to you. If you had a feeling and it was Stanley's, it would have a very limited impact. Yeah. But because it's yours, quote unquote, whoa, because there's a transferal of power of mind through this fucking robbery and then applied to it. It's like the Course says it perfectly. You and I are the dreaming of the dream. I don't like dream, it's dreaming. You and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. We forget that we're dreaming. How the hell could that happen? It can't. But it can seem to happen in time. So we forget that we're dreaming, and suddenly everything that we're dreaming is now given the ability to affect us as the dreamt. It sounds like your day. So we're dreaming thoughts, and suddenly the thoughts can ruin our fucking life. They can motivate us to take an action that throws us in jail for 40 years. Fuck. Yeah? Isn't that the perfect description of what's happening every day with everybody? We're the dreaming, if you want to call this a dream. But how can you call a river that stops a river? It isn't. So it's dreaming. There's no dream. There's no dream. Oh, there's the dream. There's dreaming. You never leave it as this. If this is seemingly here, that's dreaming. Yeah? There's no place that this can get out of the dreaming and then observe it like you would get out of a river and go, oh, that river is this. That's not available. Yeah?
Right.
So this is the dreaming. So you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. Yeah? We forget that we're dreaming. I humbly believe the act of forgetting is the identification as the dreamt. Yes? As soon as the identification as the dreamt is now the reference, suddenly everything that you've given all the meaning to now has the ability to affect you. So the reality that you are gets dispersed into the dreaming, and then the dreaming bites your fucking dreamt ass. And then victim is played, and all these different roles are played. Yeah? But the fact you're missing the point, and then when the point is shared with you, the mental state's defense system is incredible. It will claim hearing the message, I'm the dreaming, as the dreamt. And then now suddenly, I'm going to dream 62 virgins and Cadillacs, and I'll have the best looking biceps and abs, and you just go off thinking, oh, now that I found out I'm the dreaming, I'm going to dream everything I want. It was the usurping of the message that fucks it all up again. Yeah? If what's dreaming hears the message it's dreaming, it can easily come out of what it's not in. Why do I say, how long does it take to get out of an imaginary place? No fucking time. Yeah? What's the solution to what's not happening? It's a solution of itself. It's not happening. What more do you need to do than to see it's not happening? If you do anything, if what's happening does anything about what's not happening, it's now happening. We're the what's happening. And we're making what's not happening happen by entertaining it. You don't see the power of it? You do not really see the miraculous power that I can ruin today with next week. That's unbelievable. That's a miracle in a sense. We're doing an incredible thing. No dog is doing that. No fucking animal's doing it. No cow, no owl, no eagle, no snake is rooting today by next week. Not any of them. None. Little kids can't do it either. They have to seemingly grow into the mental condition. Yeah? But us, all fucking day. Does that mean you're not available to people? No, because there's another beautiful statement. Hey, we're the dreaming of this dream, and we're going to dream ourselves out of this dream. Yeah? So sometimes it's appropriate to be of help. You listen to someone, you hold the space for them. Other times you say, hey, fuck, that's not happening. Yeah? There's no dogmatic way. You're playing, it's almost as if there's dimensions you find yourself appearing in at that moment. So what's appropriate in one moment as a solution or an answer may not be at another moment. It's very fluid. You don't store this knowledge, you live this knowledge. There's a living of it, there's no storage of it. You stay empty, and what you need to know, you'll know. And if you're not meant to know it, you won't. Simple as that. Because something has been written and you're playing shit out of this. Yeah? Then you can have a fucking nice latte or a dessert and not go over it as if it's like the parting of the Red Sea. You know? You're not that important, really. So, dispersed interest and attention is it for me. Focus, you lose so much. You just let yourself, you're wide open. You're fucking unbelievable amount of space. Yeah? Yeah, so alright, that's that. Can you turn it on? Yes, I'm done. Alright, let me pass some baskets up.